Sonic Forces is the latest main entry into the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, which promises to take Sonic Generations gameplay ideas, add a custom character, and an actual storyline. You've probably heard mixed opinions on Sonic Forces on the internet, so let me tell you my honest opinion of the game. This is SEGAbits review for Sonic Forces on the PlayStation 4. Sonic Forces' biggest draw for fans was its what-if concept, which genuinely attracted my attention when Sega finally revealed the game's story. I like the idea that Sega was having a story where Eggman already took over the world. It seemed to have a lot of interesting possibilities. It was exciting to see returning enemies like Chaos and Zavik and even Shadow the Hedgehog. Sadly, while the ideas laid out by Sonic Team were great on paper, their inability to write proper dialogue or even understand proper story structure makes the game's story rather disappointing. I think the problem with the game is that it doesn't have a focus. One sentence, the game talks about Sonic being tortured, and then a few lines later reverts back to talking like a lighthearted kids game. It feels like the game was written to be darker in tone and was changed during development to be more in line with Sonic Colors or Sonic Generation. While Sega really hyped up the return of Shadow, Zavik, Chaos, and Metal Sonic in the promotional material, the game's story really didn't incorporate them well. Chaos, who had fans the most excited, isn't really even shown in the game, only for a few seconds and a few cutscenes. He doesn't even have a boss fight. That was a very big letdown. I think the biggest issue with the story though is that it isn't written well at all. It pushes you forward as fast as possible and never lets anything build or grow. While I know Sonic fans will complain that Sonic Team isn't really known for great writing, you'd think that they would hire a competent person that understands basic character arcs and plot structures. At the start of the story, you are thrusted into the middle of this chaotic war and working to take back land away from Eggman. The game's new villain, Infinite, was as badly written as I assumed he would be. The character literally has no growth as a villain, doesn't do much outside of spouting edgy dialogue. It's a shame because it's been a long time since Sonic Team has written a really good villain. It makes sense why they would continue to stick with Dr. Eggman, an established and well-liked character. While promotional material hyped up Infinite as being the big bad guy here, it comes off more as Eggman's lackey. While the game's story concept intrigued me, I was more interested in playing the game considering that I thought Sonic Generations was a big step in the right direction for the franchise. This time, you not only play as classic Sonic and modern Sonic, but also a new custom hero. Sadly, the level design and controls in the game have regressed since Sonic Generations, especially for classic Sonic. The controls just don't feel precise, the physics just seem to get wonky at the weirdest times. Don't get me wrong, I'm not one of those people that expect classic Sonic in this game to play like the Sega Genesis games. But what Sonic Team delivered here is worse than what they've tried with Sonic Generations. The game doesn't feature momentum, it actively slows you down, even when you try to gather speed. Classic Sonic in this game really does feel rushed. Not only his contribution to the whole story, but how he feels to control and play. As far as in-game levels, all of them are more on the short side, and offer pretty safe level design. Though, Sonic Team did equip classic Sonic with a new drop dash feature from Sonic Mania, which is nice and actually helps out a lot in the gameplay and keeping things fresh. Then we have Modern Sonic, which brings back boost gameplay that originated in Sonic Unleashed back in 2008. The game really does work better with Modern Sonic, if the levels are designed correctly. My issue with Modern Sonic's gameplay in Sonic Forces is that it feels like they took level design sections from Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations, but executed them poorly. Sonic Forces doesn't try anything new with Modern Sonic's gameplay. While Modern Sonic does have a few levels that I thought were really well done, it seems that most of the levels usually range from okay to a few being really poorly designed, especially when you get close to the end. I think the issue with Sonic Forces' repetition with the Modern Sonic gameplay comes down to what can you do with boost gameplay? You're very limited and you could feel that Sonic Team has been running out of ideas since they're reusing almost everything that we've seen before in Generations and in Colors. If you think about it, racing fast down the stage does limit what you can do in terms of level design. It's like they knew about the issue and that's why they had something like Sonic Lost World. The other reason why these levels leave you feeling underwhelmed is because of how short they are. A lot of these stages can be beaten in a little over a minute. Sega also offered Episode Shadow as a free download. This prequel story reveals just how Infinite came to be. Obviously, Shadow the Hedgehog is basically a reskinned, modern Sonic the Hedgehog, which is frankly alright with me. The prequel story is only 3 stages long, so under 15 minutes of actual gameplay and story. But after you beat the DLC, you get the ability to play modern Sonic stages with Shadow the Hedgehog, which is pretty cool. The last character you get to play as is you, as in you get to create a character. Going to be honest, I started playing this game thinking I was going to despise the avatar, but it ended up being my favorite thing about Sonic Forces. I like the create your own avatar system, which gives me flashbacks to Phantasy Star Online. Those were the days. I also like the fact that each species has their own advantages, so it's cool to have the option to use different species when you want. The game does a good job rewarding you with new shirts, shoes, headgear, and other costume goodies for completing stages and missions. Not only that, Sonic Team is really generous with the amount of items they give you. It really does seem that Sonic Team focused a lot of energy on the avatar, at least in terms of unlockable content, because Sonic Bros didn't really get much love when it comes to customization. The avatar's solo stages benefit from having weapons and avatar powers that let you play around as you figure out how to traverse these stages as fast as possible. Sonic Forces boss battles also feel like you've done them before because you have done them before. Each and almost every boss fight in Sonic Forces comes in two packages. It either starts off in a 2D stage where they hover in the background and try to hit you with projectiles until they let their guard down and you can attack them. The other boss fight is about the same, only that you have the modern Sonic camera angle as you run through a single lane trying to catch the boss. As you run towards him, they'll throw obstacles your way. If you dodge them, you will get a boost that will allow you to catch up and attack. These aren't bad ideas, it's just that Sonic Team's already done these types of boss fights to death. I really wish it had more of a variety here. Graphically, the game is sharp and bright, and it isn't pushing the game console to the edge. The game actually runs at a solid frame rate, which is kind of rare for Sonic Team, which have a history of not having solid frame rates. Sonic Forces hardly dips. I've never seen it dip outside of one water level, and it was very minor. While I think that graphics and performance are the most impressive thing that Sonic Forces offers, it also has a drawback since backgrounds don't seem to have much going on compared to the past games. We at SEGAbits give this game a C-. Sonic Forces is a game with good intentions that got handled completely wrong. Somehow Sonic Team has regressed as a developer by delivering Sonic gameplay that is worse than the generation's counterpart. Not only does the game feature short levels, it's a short game in general, taking a regular user a little over 3 hours to complete the main story. Sure, it has extra content that will extend the gameplay, but that doesn't change the fact that it's the shortest modern Sonic game in a very long time. I wouldn't have minded it if the whole thing was well polished and a well designed package, but that isn't what we got here. The game does have some good secret and extra stages to unlock that feature slower 2D platforming and plenty of avatar customizable gear to unlock. So it's not all bad. Sonic Forces is just an okay game. It really feels like the game just wasn't all the way completed, especially considering that Sega held review copies back so they can deliver a day one patch. Even after that patch, it still has a ton of issues, especially when you get further towards the end of the game. I hope wherever the next main Sonic game takes us, that they deliver a polished product at the very least. So you probably disagree with me or agree with me. Just let me know in the comments below what you thought of Sonic Forces. If you disagree with me and will actually like Sonic Forces and you want to let me know in the comments below, tell me why. And if you like this channel and you like what we do here, I hope you guys subscribe, share it with a friend, and thanks for watching.
It's not the same.